The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Film Jitsu, the podcast that wields films like deadly weapons. We are your hosts. I am Jay.
And I am Mike.
This week, in honor of Father's Day, I assigned Mike one of the most acclaimed and divisive films of the 21st century. Terrence Malick's 2011 meditation on life, death, family, faith, memory, creation, existence, grace, nature, dinosaurs, Sean Penn wandering around glass buildings, and apparently every other subject Terrence Malick could think of while staring thoughtfully into the sky. The Tree of Life. After Mike's review, we'll count down our bottom 5 creations, the inventions, products, and monsters that probably should have remained on the drawing board. Then we'll return for another round of Dueling Double Bills, where we'll attempt to pair films thematically connected to the Tree of Life into perfect double features, and almost certainly end up arguing about it. And before we begin, a quick warning. When we roll the trailer, you may need to adjust your volume accordingly. This is a Terrence Malick film, after all, and there's a decent chance the narrator delivers the entire thing in reverential whisper while standing in a field of wheat. So let's roll the trailer for 2011's The Tree of Life.
There are 2 ways through life. The way of nature and the way of grace. You have to choose which one you'll follow.
It takes fierce will to get ahead in this world. Come on, hit me. Hit me. Come on, son.
He's afraid of you. You expect things that only an adult can accomplish.
I've just always wanted you to be strong, be your own man.
Father, Mother, always you wrestle inside me. Always you will. Unless you love, your life will flash by.
Mike, since this episode happens to land on Father's Day, I figured I'd do something a little thematic for a change. There are about 1,000 movies about fathers and sons that I could have picked, but I decided to go with one that's been sitting in the back of my mind for years, and that's Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life. And part of the reason I assigned it to you is because this movie has one of the most intimidating reputations of any modern film. It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. It received Oscar nominations for, Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Cinematography. And it's spent the last 15 years inspiring equal numbers of declarations of genius and accusations of pretentiousness. Depending on who you ask, it's either one of the greatest films ever made or an endurance test that's disguised as art. Now, technically, this was a you go first pick. I could have just sat back and waited to hear your thoughts, but the truth is, I often end up watching these movies anyways, and there was absolutely no way I was going to assign The Tree of Life without seeing it myself. So, when the credits rolled, Mike, did you think you'd just watched an existential masterpiece or a pretentious bore?
The short answer is that I loved this film. And in fact, we've never approached anything like this on our show. We're supposed to be the bad movie podcast that wields films like deadly weapons. And typically, you know what you're going to get. And so it's so fascinating and honestly kind of brilliant that you chose The Tree of Life for a review. I think it's a fresh take on our format where we step outside of movies we expect to be bad and instead review a movie we expect to be challenging while still shoving the other guy into the deep end, right? Like, here you go,
totally.
good luck,
this
right?
Is you. Yeah, right.
And I got to say, I know that this is a divisive movie, and I'm already suspecting that maybe you're on the other side of the line than me, but I really grappled with this movie. You gave me the challenge of the Tree of Life. And for me, it was exactly that in the most thrilling way. I just want to say at the outset that in just the 48 hours since I've watched this film, it's kind of slithered into my soul in a way that is going to be hard for me to articulate on this podcast. This one cut me deep, and it opened some emotional wounds that I didn't even realize hadn't completely healed. So fair warning, it's about to get real in here, because I don't know how much I'm going to talk about the movie and how much I'm going to talk about what this movie did to me, or how it made me think about my own life, my own childhood, my own fatherhood.
Yeah.
I have this bad habit of sometimes not watching films that receive broad, effusive praise because I'm worried that I won't have the same experience.
Sure.
And that I'll either be let down by the film or I'll be let down by myself for not being smart enough or insightful enough to meet it in the same place as everybody else. And the end result is sometimes I just don't end up seeing the movie, which is stupid.
Yeah, for sure.
And The Tree of Life is one of those films that I've backburnered up until now. And I am deeply grateful that you finally forced my hand and that I haven't gone another minute without this film in my heart.
That's a very common reaction to this film. This is very much a slice of life that a lot of people really can relate to. There's a lot of unrealized dreams. There's a lot of toxic masculinity addressed. There's a lot of father-son dynamics that aren't always that great, but then there are very heartfelt moments as well. The film tries to grapple with grace and nature. And Brad Pitt's character representing nature and Jessica Chastain's mother character representing grace. Just to step back from that for a minute, that's what the film, I think, ostensibly is about. But the actual plot, if you will, of this film is what exactly, Mike? Would you say like 1950s, 1960s, nuclear family, 3 kids?
Yeah, the O'Brien family and their lives between the 40s and the 60s. And it shows us their son Jack in the modern world as he struggles, I think, to reconcile life growing up under the thumb of a grieving and oppressive father, played, like you said, by Brad Pitt. But I think that The Tree of Life is about the enormity of our universe and our infinitesimal place within it.
Yeah.
It's about the inconceivable scale and scope of the creation and existence of our cosmos, something that is so massive and grand and beautiful and heartbreaking and cruel that it can't possibly be measured. Our minds can't comprehend it. Right?
But he does try to measure it. He tries to measure it in just 2 simple themes: grace and nature.
That's exactly it. And I think that Malick wants to tell this story through the smallest possible measurement. What he's saying is that we exist in this kind of fraction of a flicker of time and space. And I think the movie wants to remind us that humans are just stardust that briefly learn to wonder and love before we return to the silence of the universe. And that humanity is kind of the universe's way of becoming conscious of itself. And so, like you said, Malick wants to kind of look at the 2 sides of the coin, is nature and grace. This story for me, right, this one little family in the massive expanse of the cosmos, in this tiny moment, right? This story had me on the verge of tears in one way or the other.
Sure. For
almost its entire runtime, because it caused me to think about my own childhood and my own family, not in a nostalgic way. This film was not nostalgic for me in any way, but it made me think about my siblings. It made me think about the nurture versus nature of my own mother and father. I've had some pretty big feelings since watching this movie. And I want to thank you for that, because left to my own devices, I would have continued to miss out entirely.
Well, I wish I could say it was some sort of altruistic gesture on my part, but really I was trying to stick it to you because a lot of people don't like this movie. But regardless of whether or not you loved it or hated it, I felt as though we were going to have a conversation of depth which too often on our show doesn't happen, right?
Right.
Too often one of us gets stuck with something that we watch and there's not much to say about it. Here, we're not going to be able to cover all the topics that we want to cover in 20 to 25 minutes. There's just no way. This movie is talking about everything that you said and more. It's tackling religion as well, which you didn't touch upon. I personally don't think it does a masterful job with anything outside of the 1950s setting. Once it jumps forward and Sean Penn is grown-up Jack and he's dealing with the death of his brother, R.L., who died back when he was 19, I guess, through circumstances that we don't entirely understand or, don't need to know, really. It's just that there's grief and tragedy there. Anything involving Sean Penn was kind of just ripped me right out of the movie.
Yeah.
The other things that didn't work for me, although I admire just how huge the swing was, were all of these like cosmological sort of shots, all these shots of the cosmos or shots of the earth being born or dinosaurs. Even people knocked the dinosaur sequence. I thought it was one of the coolest parts of the movie. I just didn't.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, I just didn't feel as though it fit. That's the thing. Like, there is a whimsical nature and a true director's passion running through the middle section of this movie that is almost unrivaled. I can honestly say, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about how visually impactful and thematically and dramatically some of the middle of this movie really, truly was. The children running through, the baby when it's first born, that close-up.
Yeah.
I don't think I have seen a movie that was shot as beautifully as this one is by Emmanuel Lubezki. I don't know how he didn't win all of the Oscars ever for this.
Yeah. Lubezki has been making just an insane variety of films forever. Things like Reality Bites.
I know.
The Birdcage.
Yeah.
Right? But Sleepy Hollow with
Tim Burton.
But man, boy, does he really hit a stride, because let's listen to this run, right? The New World, Children of Men with Cuarón, Burn After Reading with the Coen brothers, right? Think about working with Malick and Cuarón and the Coen brothers, right? One after the other. Then he does The Tree of Life, Gravity, Birdman.
Holy cow. Oh,
and
Iñárritu too. Wow.
And
Cuarón
the Revenant.
and Iñárritu too. Both.
Yeah.
Holy Jesus.
Yep.
Wow. So we're looking at a guy who's seriously operating at the top of his game, but it's Malick too. I mean, every frame of this movie feels very intentional. The whimsy, the playfulness, the sort of childish perspective that a lot of those childhood scenes have.
Yeah.
Even if you're not nostalgic for a particular time or place, it is reminiscent of what childhood felt like.
Yeah, they have that gauzy feeling of childhood memory where you can't quite remember everything.
Right.
But you're almost sort of looking at it through this kind of fuzziness of the passage
fuzzy
of time.
lens,
and there was, the scene where the brother shoots his little brother in the finger with the BB gun and then feels remorse, right? Just those sorts of things, running around with your friends in the neighborhood, causing trouble, getting into mischief, that sort of thing. I couldn't help but wonder, not to sound like an old man yelling at the sky, but how many generations of filmgoers are going to be able to be somewhat nostalgic about those kind of halcyon summer days of running around the neighborhood with a gaggle of other kids, right? I was young in the late 80s, early 90s. You just a little bit before that. We very much had those, running around on our bicycles kind of childhoods that my kids don't have. And I think that's an interesting thing, but I agree with you. The Sean Penn stuff doesn't really work for me. It felt slight to me. I think in the scope of everything else, I don't think it was necessarily needed to make the point.
And that too is really well directed. That's the interesting thing. Well shot, well directed. Those zooming shots of the busyness of the adult world. Penn's performance, I think, was kind of an issue. What happened to a lot of the performances in this movie, with Brad Pitt being the exception and with Hunter McCracken as young Jack being a huge exception, those two performances are outlandishly good. There are moments where Jessica Chastain is phenomenal, but Jessica Chastain and Sean Penn both suffer from Malick's hand at editing in that he didn't want people delivering dialogue. He wanted the reactions to all of the lines, not the lines themselves. He tries to pursue authenticity using reaction shots of actors, and that doesn't work because actors act. Brad Pitt was authentic in a way that I had never seen him before. Yep. And he really approached this material in a way that was well above what I thought he was capable of doing. When you get all of these shots, these reaction shots and everything of Chastain and especially Penn, they feel so forced. They just feel, if I had to watch Chastain walk around in the woods and stare up at the top of trees any more than I already did, this movie would have kept dropping in my estimation because these scenes did not encapsulate any level of wonder or mystery or thoughtfulness to me. They look like actors acting. Even when Chastain finds a butterfly and it lands on her hand, and I don't know, I mean, maybe that was CG. I have no idea. I don't think it was. No. It read as very real. And then there's a shot where the butterfly's on the ground and she's sort of petting it with her finger and a cat comes over behind her. And I'm like, wow, like all of this is amazing, right?
Yeah, right.
But her reaction to everything felt so performative. That is a real problem for me with this movie.
You're right. I think the success of the movie is in the performance of Pitt and this young actor, McCracken, for sure. The Sean Penn stuff to me almost didn't register. Like it occupies very little space in my thoughts about this movie. It was so inconsequential to me that I was kind of like, oh yeah, there's Sean Penn's face again. Like it was almost like this coda at the end of the movie to remind me that kid's still alive thinking about his dad. Okay, fine, I guess. But Malick is doing a lot with the camera sort of raising to the heavens. He's doing a lot with angles in these scenes in kind of the modern world. And what I took away from that kind of stuff was that he was telling us that in our world, we have created these cathedrals of steel and glass, and we've created societies and civilizations, and that none of it matters in the end.
Sure.
And that all we have ever done and all that we will ever do just amounts to this grain of sand on the endless beach of time, and that humanity is just this passing blemish in a world that was created eons ago and will exist for eons after we're gone. But as insignificant as we are, and I think this is a little bit of what he was getting at with Penn on the beach and sort of encountering people in his lives again. I think there's a lot of different ways you could interpret that.
Yeah.
I think what he was saying is that as insignificant as we are to the universe, that also within that, our capacity to love and grieve, that has a scale and a scope all of its own. And that it kind of in defiance of the expanse of time, right? I think the movie wants us to consider that God might be found in those places in between.
Oh, I think so.
Those contradictory realities.
Yeah. And I definitely think that there's an infinite reaching out into the cosmos, and we are but this tiny speck, but then inside of us, we are multitudes.
Yeah.
And I think that's
infinite in,
very much what we're looking at here.
But our lives matter because they matter to us and not to the universe, right? Just as the lives of the dinosaurs mattered to them 66 million years before the first human walked on two legs. So I thought so much about this, Jay, and this is where the movie really got emotional for me, because I was raised in a family very much like the O'Briens. I have younger siblings. My father was never physically abusive, but he was cold and he was domineering, and his temper hung over our heads constantly. The scene at the dinner table where one of the younger boys stands up to the father and Brad Pitt goes across the table at him, right? And the older son tries to fight his dad, push him back, get him off his brother, even though he knows he can't physically overpower his dad. This moment kind of rang a bell in my head that I didn't even know was there.
Yeah.
And a little later on, during the scene when Jack criticizes his mother and blames her for letting his father walk all over her, I had to pause the movie for a good 5 minutes until I could stop crying.
Oh, geez, Mike. Jesus.
Because I know that when she was alive, I said those exact same words to my mom.
Oof.
I was so angry at her. I was so angry at her for not standing up to him and the amount of disloyalty and disrespect that she took from him. And I never got the chance to tell her how sorry I am for that, because what I know now is that she was never his doormat. She was our shield.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it. She tolerated so much mistreatment in her life to protect us from the consequences of his choices and his behavior. And I judged her for it until the day she died, when I should have been saying, thank you.
Oh.
Somehow in this non-linear kaleidoscope of a film, it was like Terrence Malick was reaching back into my own childhood memories and giving me the opportunity to view them in a whole new light. And because the story never stops and the universe is always expanding, and now I'm the father and I have the choice with my own family to represent grace,
right,
or nature. And I'm terrified by how much of my father I see inside me, right? How quick I am to raise my voice, how often I'm this elemental force in our lives when I ought to be like my mother and choose to give grace. And I never got the chance to tell her I'm sorry.
Well, I think that it's important, and it's a failing of the film here. So I hate to be this bridge and pull a pin out of what you're talking about, but you're talking about a mom who wasn't just grace. Your mom was nature too. And that's where this film fails. Malick always draws this line. A lot of this is influenced by Dostoevsky. In The Brothers Karamazov, you've got the grotesque living alongside beauty, that things can intermingle. And that is the failure of this film in a lot of ways. It doesn't show the balance that we all have as a choice, even as small in the cosmos as we are. Your mom sounds like a woman who was both grace and nature. I think more of us should be just like your mom, and we should show strength and compassion. She shielded you guys from tough things. You may have misinterpreted that, but at the end of the day, you can look back at it and say, she was both. She was powerful and she was graceful and loving and caring.
Not to be overly dramatic about it, but like 100 years from now, everybody that knows your name will be gone.
Yeah, for sure.
And in a million years from now, the memory of our species might be dust, right? But for one brief moment, we were here and we were broken and we were beautiful and we were loved. Our time here matters, even if the universe doesn't think it matters. And we have to embrace this kind of droplet in the ocean of time that we're given. And the movie ends with this moment with Brad Pitt of regret and reflection. He says,
look, the glory around us. Trees and birds. I lived in shame. I dishonored it all and didn't notice the glory. A foolish man.
And this gorgeous film stopped me dead in my tracks because it warned me not to live in shame, not to dishonor the glory all around us. It told me that I'm not my father, right?
Right, exactly.
And while I never got the chance to tell my mother that I'm sorry, I can see how she chose, to your point, how she chose to live in grace. And the Tree of Life made me think that somehow, somewhere in the vastness of the cosmos, my mom will see that and be proud.
Yeah, she will. No doubt.
Man, I'm not sure if any of this qualifies as a review of a movie, right?
No, it does. It's exactly the kind of thing that this movie is supposed to pull from its audience.
This is what I want from art, right? It caused me to think about myself, think about where I fit in, think about who I am as a father. Here we are on Father's Day, surprise to me, right?
Yeah, happy Father's Day, Mike. I'm glad you liked it.
I loved it, Jay. Thank you so much. I loved this movie. It was the challenge that I think you wanted it to be.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mike, for this week's bottom 5, since the Tree of Life takes a modest little swing at the creation of the universe, I decided to go with bottom 5 creations, and let's just have more fun with this, right? We've talked about grief and the balance between nature and grace. I'm tired. I just want to talk about ridiculous things that were created in cinema. I did make one rule. It had to be decided to be made. It can't just be some random creation. The other thing that I did was I made it inside the world of the film, because it would be very easy for us to say, oh, gee, The Room, why did anybody create that?
Yeah. I took almost the exact same approach that you did. I didn't want to get too clever with this and go outside the world of film. And I think, to your point, recognizing that this would be a heavy main review, I wanted to have fun with the list.
Sure.
So my number 5 is the enormous, self-contained monster murder farm designed to appease the ancient ones in Drew Goddard's The Cabin in the Woods. If you thought that building a giant theme park full of dinosaurs was a stupid idea, then buckle your ass in, because here we build an inescapable facility and cram it full of every kind of unstoppable monster, murderer, hellbeast, ghost, goblin, ghoul that has ever decapitated a human head, and then just cross our fingers that they don't all get out. Well, guess fucking what? Like, what did they think they were going to get here when they created The Cabin in the Woods, right? Especially for an organization that's orchestrating every kind of scary movie cliche that there has ever been. You didn't think that, like, maybe the monsters would break out of the death zoo and come after you? And spoiler alert, in this Guinness Book of World Records OSHA violation, it brings about the end of the world. So great job on this brilliant creation that you've come up with. Everyone is super dead, and then the world ends. Way to go.
You know, Mike, that is such a great pick, and it's exactly the kind of thing that I wanted to see on these lists. So props to you for a perfect number 5. I think that's terrific. My number 5 is a whole group of people. It's Bond villain creations. Because if there's one thing James Bond has taught us, it's that limitless money, genius level engineering, and a complete absence of emotional regulation will inevitably lead to the dumbest possible use of technology. By the time Goldfinger came out in 1964 with Sean Connery in his third Bond film, the series was already figuring out Bond villains do not simply commit crimes. They commission architecture. They build underwater cities. They hollow out volcanoes. They construct orbital death lasers. They design elaborate layers with retractable floors, shark tanks, monorails, control rooms, and ventilation systems apparently built by unionized henchmen. And the creations are almost never practical. A normal criminal might rob a bank. A Bond villain builds a secret base inside a mountain, develops a new energy weapon, hires 300 jumpsuited employees, and then explains the whole thing to the one British man most likely to blow it all up.
It's so extra.
They're so extra.
Do you know how much bullshit it took me just to get like a new roof on my house?
Right, exactly.
What contractors are you working with that you're getting mountain fortresses built? Holy shit.
They are cinema's purest expression of bad genius.
Yeah.
My number 5 definitely is Bond villain creations. Just all of them.
Can you imagine how much bullshit those guys had to go through just to get Comcast hooked up in their volcano? Oh my God. Wow. Well done. Okay. I like that. My number 4, Jay, I'm sorry to pick on Willy Wonka again.
Yeah.
But what the actual fuck with fizzy lifting drink? What was the plan there, right? A carbonated beverage that makes you fly into the air seemingly without limits. And when you burp, you plunge back down to earth. Like, people thought Four Loko was a bad idea. This should have been called Class Action Lawsuit Tonic. And they should have put the number for Wonka's legal team on the side of the bottle. It is that unhinged. I'm not sure which one is worse, right? Rocketing people into power lines and oncoming airplanes, or dropping their asses back down to earth like Wile E. Coyote in the Grand Canyon. Either way, the regulatory implications alone are staggering, right? Wonka is probably the grand champion of bottom 5 creations, but nothing comes even close to fizzy lifting drink.
I don't know about that. I think that the gum that Violet has, even though she deserved her fate, who the fuck wants a 3-course meal in gum?
I do if the other option is dropping from the sky and splattering on the sidewalk. I do.
You're going to turn into a blueberry and they'll have to roll you down a garbage chute.
I love blueberries. That sounds fine to me. I mean, look, I'm not saying it doesn't belong elsewhere on the list. You're absolutely right. But for me, fizzy lifting drink is the one that either it shoots you into the high tension power lines or it drops you onto the pavement. Either way, what was the plan? That's what I want to know with this creation. What were you thinking?
That's exactly what this list is about. What were you thinking? And to that point, at my number 4, I'm going to go with Gozer's offer in Ghostbusters, because of course I am. It is one of my all-time favorites. I'm sure anybody that's listened to the show more than once has heard me say it. But fittingly, for a list about creations, Ghostbusters gives us one of the great accidental creations in movie history. And it's not exactly accidental. It is intentional. It is intentional. Gozer tells the Ghostbusters to choose the form of the Destructor, and Ray tries to not think of anything, which of course means his brain immediately betrays him and then produces the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And I sympathize. If an ancient interdimensional god told me to think of anything, my mind would immediately cough up the stupidest, most embarrassing thing available. Right. That is not Ray's failure. That is just brain behavior. But the result is magnificent. The end of the world nearly arrives as a giant, smiling, sailor-suited marshmallow mascot stomping through Manhattan.
It's so good.
And because this is Ghostbusters, there is another creation story behind the creation story. The visual effects were supervised by Richard Edlund, one of the original Industrial Light and Magic heavy hitters, who had worked on the Star Wars films before going out and creating his own effects house, Boss Film Studios. Ghostbusters was one of the company's first major showcases, and they had to pull off ghosts, proton streams, terror dogs, Gozer, matte paintings, miniatures, optical composites, and a giant marshmallow man on absolutely an absurd timetable. Ivan Reitman was reportedly not thrilled with the effects. If you listen to the director's commentary on the Ghostbusters DVDs, you'll hear him talk about that. And with all due respect to the late Mr. Reitman, I call total bullshit. Because, yes, you can see the seams here. Of course you can. But those seams are part of why this movie still feels so alive. These effects have texture. They have weight. They have comedy timing. They define the look of special effects for years before CGI came in and sanded everything smooth. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is a perfect bad creation inside the movie. Cosmic horror filtered through snack branding. But outside the movie, he is part of a genuinely great cinematic creation, a team of effects artists inventing a visual language under insane pressure and somehow making the apocalypse look hilarious, tactile, and unforgettable. Richard Edlund, big ups to you, sir. This is my number 4. Ghostbusters.
I thought about the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Did you?
It's so good. Yeah, I did. I almost wanted to put it on here so that I could just remind you that as much as I do not like Dan Aykroyd, this is the one time that I am completely on board with Aykroyd. I think he's great in Ghostbusters overall. Okay. I thought for sure, I was like, if I thought about the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, then Santo definitely did, and I was concerned to duplicate it. So I'm glad to see that we got there. I think I know you well enough now. I knew that I could just leave this one out there and you would take care of it. Along those lines, knowing me well enough,
wow,
I'd like to donate my number 3 pick to you.
Okay.
Because it's from a movie that you love so much more than I do. You can speak to it so much better than I can.
Okay.
Right? So I'm going to give you the pick and then you explain it.
Oh, God. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's see.
Because for my number 3, I'm going with the resurrection machine in Joel Schumacher's Flatliners. Right?
Like the resurrection machine, quote unquote. It's not a machine.
Yeah.
It's actually just a drug that they take intravenously and it slows down their heart rate and they keep them really cold. And then they're like trying to play one up with the amount of time that they're dead.
Yeah.
And then they pull themselves back to life and their sins come after them.
Yeah.
like they manifest physically. It's so ridiculous.
It's wild.
Billy Baldwin gets chased by all the girls that he videotaped while banging them. Like, this is just a wild fucking movie.
It really is.
Kevin Bacon called a little black girl really lousy names when he was a kid. And she ends up haunting him, like on the subway at one point, calling him every horrific white person name you can think of. And it's funny. I didn't realize just how many terrible things you can call someone until I saw that movie. Yeah. It is. Why would you do it? I think the creation aspect of the thing is the stunt itself.
Yeah, creating this process,
yeah,
right?
This process.
Don't repeatedly fuck around and find out with the afterlife. I don't think that's a great plan.
I think once Kiefer Sutherland got the shit beat out of him by a ghost kid with a hockey stick, I think everybody should have just put away their toys and gone home.
I knew that I could just hand this one over to you and you would lay it all out there perfectly.
Love the movie.
Such a bad idea.
My number 3, we have Dren from Splice, the 2009 science fiction horror film directed by Vincenzo Natali, who previously made Cube.
Yeah.
And this film stars Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley as scientists who keep making decisions that would get most people removed from a laboratory, a university, and possibly society. Splice asks the timeless scientific question, what if we did something catastrophically unethical, but we looked sad and serious while doing it?
I have almost watched this movie a bunch of times, but I think I got somewhere along the line that this movie might also be kind of somewhat unnecessarily horny.
Yeah, she's kind of the embodiment of every boundary these people crossed while pretending that they were still in control of the experiment. And the problem with this creation is not simply that it becomes dangerous, it's that the people who created her never seem emotionally, ethically, or intellectually equipped to deal with what they've made. And then the movie just goes to these places you mentioned, dark and weird places where you find yourself thinking, remember when this was just about curing diseases? The creation itself is disturbing, but the real horror is watching the creators keep doubling down after every single warning sign begins flashing red. So my number 3, Dren from Splice.
I'm still not sure I'm going to watch it. You might have just sealed its fate forever. I might never now. Jason, you know that I'm all about physical media.
Yes.
You have some insane digital library. I have shelves full of DVDs collecting dust, and that suits each one of us just fine.
Well, technically, I have both, but okay.
Right. But it is difficult to advocate for physical media when something like the VHS tape in The Ring exists.
Why? Yeah. Why would anybody create that?
This friggin' thing, right? The spirit of a dead kid creates a cursed VHS tape that after you watch it, you die in 7 days.
No, but the phone has to ring too.
Well, the phone rings and you answer, you'll die in 7 days. And people watch the tape, right? I thought that Be Kind Rewind was the biggest problem with VHS tapes, but oh boy, was I wrong. When the distributor of your physical media is, and let me just check my notes here, the vengeful spirit of a murdered child, maybe take a pass on the tape that they created, right? I don't know. Watch the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants instead or some shit. It doesn't matter to me. But this creation, right? This is one that you should not be renting to make tonight a blockbuster night. Samara creating the tape from The Ring. That tape is most certainly my number 2.
That's awesome. I got no notes for that. That's so good.
Can I give you a real great quick anecdote about this movie?
Sure, yeah.
I went to see it in the theater with my mom and my grandmother and my aunt were visiting me in college, right? It was like family weekend. They didn't want to see The Ring. Go figure. So they went to see, I think, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and I went in to watch The Ring by myself. I'm sitting in the back of the theater. Their movie must have ended before mine, and mom came looking for me.
Oh boy.
And so I am at like the most tense part of the movie. Then all of a sudden a hand lands on my shoulder. My mom goes, Michael. And I fucking screamed in this theater. I had I made a scene like you would not believe. The fact that I didn't die in that theater in that moment. Everybody else looked at, I freaked out the entire rest of the room who was also having a horrifying experience. So do not watch the tape.
Oh, I love it. That's so good. Well, my number 2, it's Soylent Green.
Oh, yeah.
For those who don't know, this is a 1973 dystopian science fiction film directed by Richard Fleischer, starring Charlton Heston, Leigh Taylor-Young, Joseph Cotton, Brock Peters, and Edward G. Robinson. Yes, the Edward G. Robinson is in Soylent Green. It's his final role. It's one of those movies where the premise has become so famous that even people who haven't seen the movie know the punchline, which is unfortunate because the punchline is cannibalism. The world is overpopulated. Resources are collapsing. People are starving. And the solution is apparently to create a mass-produced food product made out of people. That is a level of dystopian problem solving that really makes you miss regular incompetence. Yeah. The truly awful thing about Soylent Green is that it presents itself as practical. This is not a monster, a weapon, or a mad scientist's pet project. It's a consumer product. It has branding. It has distribution. It has a place in society. It is horror as a supply chain.
Yeah, that's some real Doge shit, isn't it?
Yeah,
right. That's
right?
If you turned on the television tomorrow and the Trump administration was like, boy, oh boy, if we got a plan for you, right? Would you be surprised in the slightest?
Nope, not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
The real world, our world, later gave us an actual meal replacement product that was called Soylent, which is either brilliant marketing or just proof that nobody in a conference room was ever allowed to say, maybe the cannibalism movie is not the best association for lunch. So yes, Soylent Green is made of people. And yes, somehow the name itself escaped containment into our world. That alone earns it a number 2 spot on my list.
Well, my number 1, I am almost ashamed that I have to follow up our discussion of the Tree of Life with this pick.
Oh, no.
The dissonance between the two is fairly appalling as we talk about all of the beauty of the Tree of Life. And yet, if I'm being honest, is there any creation possibly anywhere at any time worse than the human centipede? What else is there to say? Pick. A dude surgically attaches people ass to mouth. If there's a creation worse than that, then I don't know that I ever want to know about it. Mike Merrigan, over and out. Can we please just talk about the Tree of Life again? Holy moly, the human centipede.
I'm actually surprised that we didn't end up with the same number 1. You went a really gross route, so I guess that's why. But my number 1 is actually a much better pick to have come from you. It's Skynet.
Yeah.
Of course, right?
The reason why I didn't go with Skynet is because there are so many artificial intelligence. There's the Matrix. I grappled with a lot of machines and I couldn't land on one, but you're right. If I was, it would have been Skynet.
This is the one. It's hard to top.
It's probably the one.
Us, humanity, creating an artificial intelligence system for defense purposes that immediately looks at humanity and says, actually, it's not me that's the problem, it's you. Skynet's the ultimate, we made this to protect us creation, which is always the exact sentence you hear right before everything goes horribly wrong. It's designed to manage military defense systems, remove human error, and respond faster than humans can so that it can make war more efficient, which is another way of saying humanity built a machine to handle killing and was then shocked when it became extremely good at killing. It's not just a dangerous invention. It's an extinction-level self-own.
Mhm.
It becomes self-aware. It interprets humanity as the threat, triggers nuclear war, and then spends the rest of the franchise sending murder bots through time to make sure the apocalypse stays on schedule. So, for creating the system that ends the world, invents time-traveling assassins, improves once and for all, that let the computer handle it, is not always a sound strategic philosophy, Skynet is your number one bottom 5 creation.
Okay, I'll give you that, but I will ask, would you rather confront that, or would you rather be the middle piece in a human centipede? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I definitely choose the as pervy as you might think me, Merrigan. I'm definitely gonna desaturation day this one.
Yeah, no, you're many things, but middle piece of the human centipede is not one I would ever even begin to suggest. Absolutely not.
Jesus.
Also, we are currently living at the dawn of Skynet. It's going to kill all of us. I hope you're using it to do your homework or whatever the fuck. I have a good time, right? I think even by publishing this podcast, Elon Musk's supercomputer is probably now sending a robot back in time to murder our parents. So great for us. Jason, it's entirely possible that if we are still here, if we have not been Skyneted or human centipeded, that we are still kicking around long enough to play a round of Dueling Double Bills. It's that part of the show where the random movie generator is going to throw a title at us, and then you and I have to pair it with another film, and then we're going to kind of go back and forth about which pairing we like the most. So, if you have refueled the movie generator, you've topped off the tank, got it all.
I'm turning it. Yep, I'm turning it. Yep.
Tightened all the belts and the things and got that going.
I just got to.
Why don't you let us know? Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
The rope. Right. Okay. What is the first film that we have today?
Yeah. Ex Machina.
Ah, yes.
Ex Machina.
I thought about this for my bottom 5, actually.
Alex Garland. But I mean, the thing is, like, it makes sense. Well, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it didn't make sense to create her. It's hard to say. At the end, you're certainly like, oh yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely a bad idea to create her. But yeah, it's interesting.
Okay.
And then the next one is...
Make sure to feed the hamster that runs in the wheel. Oh.
You mentioned it earlier, and it makes so much sense. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, okay.
So we got 2 science fiction films tonight from 2 acclaimed, maybe one a lot more than the other, but Alex Garland is a very acclaimed director, of course. Stanley Kubrick, probably arguably the most acclaimed director, probably of all time.
He's up there, yeah.
2001 being probably what many considered his masterpiece. A lot of people would say that it's Alex Garland's best film, too. Ex Machina. I don't know that I necessarily agree. I love everything that he's worked on. I loved Men, Civil War. I even loved Annihilation. I thought it was brilliant. But talk about an ending that is cosmic and bizarre. That could have easily ended up on here as well. Maybe I'm talking too much. Perhaps I have just made a Dueling Double Bill.
I see.
I'm rarely this fast, and I'm feeling really good about it, even if it's a little bizarre.
Okay, good.
I've gone first so many times recently. I want you to go first this time.
Okay. Fair enough.
Which movie you want to choose, though? You can do either one.
Well,
I don't care whichever one you want. What's your strongest pairing?
Well, let's go with my pairing with 2001: A Space Odyssey, because right here, I went full chalk. We're not going to make it difficult. We're not going to think too hard about this. We are going to make the absolute most straightforward, dead to rights, no arguments to be had, sci-fi double bill. Is there anybody that wouldn't show up to the theater for 2001: Space Odyssey and Blade Runner?
Oh, wow. Huh.
I mean, there is not a sci-fi fan in the world that's not going to show up for that kind of thing. And what I love about it,
that's true.
Aside from the fact that they are two both just like nearly flawlessly impeccable sci-fi films. What I love is that like Blade Runner is kind of the story about what happens after,
Yeah.
like it fits in this, like long after this timeline.
What happens when robots kind of become more autonomous and try to have a life, right?
So, like I said, I wasn't thinking real hard on this one. It just seemed to me that, I'm going to take two of the most highly regarded sci-fi films of all time and plop them together for one dueling double bill.
You're taking the angle out of 2001 that focuses more on the robot aspects or the computer aspects of it, HAL 9000. And I'm looking at it more from the piece that is tied more to Tree of Life and like the creationist aspects of it.
Stuff, right.
Right. So for me, The Pairing is a movie that I uttered while thinking out loud, Annihilation from Alex Garland.
Mm-hmm.
Garland is a very clinical filmmaker in a lot of ways, and so is Kubrick. Garland's ending of Annihilation is very, very similar to the ending of 2001. I think that these are both journey films, and I think that they have fascinating, weird endings.
We've never talked about this. I don't know if maybe we need a rule book. Pairing one movie with a film from the director of the other movie.
We've done it so many times where it's the same director two times. Like,
so it's allowed.
Of course it's allowed.
I needed to know. I needed an update to the rule book.
Why would you even? Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, Mr. No rules until Jay comes up with something good. Then it's
I love
rules all of a sudden.
No, I love this. This is what I wanted to know. Is this I've never done this before because I kind of didn't think it was allowed. So I like it. I like it a lot. And look,
I like it because they're both heavily visual trips. They both have this slow burn to them, right? But then they both have a horror, like a creeping, it's going to get you kind of horror to them. And so they're similar experiences. They're more similar experiences than Blade Runner with 2001. But that said, they may be too similar. It's possible that there isn't enough of a difference. There's a difference visually. There's a difference of like organic versus cold and sterile. I mean, I see that difference, but there's very little chance of me ever watching 2001 again because I don't think it's the greatest flick. But if it was partnered with Annihilation, I probably would go check it out.
What if it was partnered with Blade Runner?
Probably not.
Really?
Only because I've seen Blade Runner way too many times. Although locally, Blade Runner will be accompanied by a live orchestra playing the score. And it's apparently the way to see this movie that I've seen 5 different cuts to Sunday. So.
Did I not include that in my double bill? I was pairing 2001 Space Odyssey with Blade Runner, but like locally with a live musical score. I forgot to say that part.
Then you win there. Yeah, then that's the win. Yeah, for sure.
All right, that's where we are with the first one. So Ex Machina, what did you decide to pair with that?
There's the beginning of the story and the end of the story. Ex Machina and the Terminator. I just think that they make a great killer robot pair.
Sure.
You're witnessing the moment just before everything goes to pot.
I think you're kind of messing with me here because you're like, I'm just going to tee up one of American's favorite flicks and see if he doesn't go see it. That's all right.
I didn't even think of that.
I know, because
I didn't think
honestly,
of that. If I said T2, then that would have been the dirtiest.
That would have been the dirtiest thing you could have done. But also, I mean, we're really splitting hairs here. It's a great pairing. There's no doubt about it. For me, Ex Machina is honestly one of the best films of the last 20 years.
Sure.
Almost to anything you pair this movie with, I'm going to be like, yep, that's the one. I'm going to go see it. Right. It is so singularly great that you would have to like really screw up the other movie for me to not want to go see it. So yeah, absolutely. Ex Machina and Terminator. Great pick. No arguments here. I went a little bit of a different route.
Oh, cool.
Because I was thinking so much about this machine trying to sort of create its own identity to fool a human person into believing that it's real, and him falling for it for all of these emotional reasons. So for me, the logical pairing was with Spike Jonze's 2013 film, Her, starring
that works.
Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson, which is just kind of an amazing, mesmerizing
really
film.
Good.
I thought a lot about maybe a much lesser seen film from a few years back that I really loved, After Yang. the 2021 film
yeah.
by Kogonada, right? A really, really great film.
Yeah, Colin Farrell's in that. And that is a great film. Colin Farrell has been on a run for the better part of a decade where he has just made once he got out of the Hollywood machine, I feel like once he stepped out and he just with Yorgos Lanthimos. I feel like
absolutely.
It's like,
right?
okay.
Working with Martin McDonagh, right? I mean, like the Banshees of Inisherin and all, like unbelievable before. I almost went with After Yang. And so maybe if our audience hasn't seen that film, I would really strongly encourage you. But my official entry is Spike Jonze's Her. So I decided to go Ex Machina and Her. You went Ex Machina and The Terminator. I went 2001 Space Odyssey and Blade Runner. You went Space Odyssey and, well, somehow Annihilation. So I don't know.
I don't think any of us should get a point for what we paired with Ex Machina because the right answer was your answer for 2001. It's Blade Runner. Blade Runner and Ex Machina go together like peanut butter and jelly. That was the right answer.
Okay.
For the first one, I'm really not sure. They're
well,
both great
I think we have a technical
pairings.
problem here because what you have done is you have stolen Blade Runner from me and reattached it to Ex Machina, which means I don't have an entry in the contest. So therefore, by some sort of insane Skynet-like logic, you have stolen the point. No, you win.
Oh, I win.
Yes,
the
that's
point?
the way this resolves itself, right? You time sucked this movie somewhere else. Now I don't have an entry. And so by default, and I am so goddamn impressed with you right now, by default, you get the point. I might have to tear the flesh from your body to make sure you are not a machine underneath, because that is some cold, messed up Skynet logic. I'm really pretty impressed. Jason, as it is Father's Day, we actually just had a heck of a Father's Day kind of moment recently.
It's true.
Film Jitsu went to the movies, baby. Right? You and I took your boys off to the theater. Only cost you, I think, a couple of mortgage payments to take two kids to a movie theater.
Buy a bucket of popcorn.
That's right. It just gold bullion with butter on top. And we went to see, because of course we did, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. When the trailer for this first dropped months ago, it looked like garbage.
It looked worse than the 80s one.
I stopped what I was doing and I was like, I got to talk to Santo right now. So we have known for months that we were going to go out and see this movie. And so we did. And we had a time at the theater. And so next week, for next week's episode, Film Jitsu Goes to the Movies, we are going to review He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
And what's our bottom five going to be, my friend?
Well, I think we saw some He-Mans. We need to have some He-Manning, right? We haven't done this before. He-Man is nothing if not a tough guy. I figured we couldn't do skeleton faces. We couldn't do skeleton men's. So I think it only makes sense for us to do our bottom five tough guys.
Ah, yes, that's good.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe are full of tough guys.
Right.
And so let's do that. Why don't we do our bottom five tough guys?
Awesome. I love it.
Okay.
Well, I think my kids might make an appearance on the show as well because they did unwillingly get dragged to this movie.
I would hope
and we'll find out what their opinions were of it. That is a 15-year-old who thinks that he's probably what do you think, 28, 29? And then a 9-year-old who I'm pretty sure is somewhere in the realm of 17, 18. So we'll see what those guys thought of Masters of the Universe, as well as what we thought next time. But until then, we have been your hosts. I am Jay.
And I am Mike.
And we'll see you next time.
Stalno mislim na te, hoću znat sve kate, vježbat ću sate i sate. Karate, vježbat ću dok zadnji mi kjaj zastane izađe.
Jay, did you know that when I watched The Tree of Life on disc, there's, I don't know if it happened on the streaming version, but like a memo comes up that basically said something to the effect of like, the producers really suggest you turn the volume way the fuck up on this movie?
No.
Yeah, that's a real thing that happened. I should have written it down verbatim, but it was like, for optimal sound, the producers of this DVD recommend that you play it loud or something.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. I've never seen anything like it.
I watched it with titles on.
I
watched
too.
it with subtitles.
I did too. Yeah, I did too.
It
I'm
felt
so glad
wrong to do it, but I did it.
I did it probably halfway through. I put them on.
Oh, I put them on right away.
I should have.
They were like 2 minutes in. I was like, nope, I need it.